Welcome to my channel Limelight Leaks. Please share and subscribe and hit the bell icon for new updates. When you see someone like Tom Cruise's Yauchno making $1 billion with Top Gun Maverick, the sequel, 35 years or so after the first one, what do you think of that? That doesn't mean anything to me. The guy's been doint? Same dang. Part for 35 years. I got no respect for that. I don't get I didn't give it, no. It's, yeah, really, brother. I don't care about money and power. You don't think Tom Cruise is a good actor? I think he doesn't matter in my world, okay? Mickey Rourke has never been just another Hollywood actor, okay? From his early days as a moody heartthrob in the 1980s to his big comeback with Thorisler, Rourke has built a name as one of Hollywood's most unpredictable and controversial people. But what many fans don't know is how his intense personality and stubborn approach to his work created some oft most explosive fights in Hollywood story Rourke's 10-year-long boxing career did just change his face. It changed High's entire way of thinking about life and relationships, making him even more confrontational and direct than Hellready was. Behind the fancy red carpets and movie premieres, Rourke developed serious personal fights with some of the biggest names in the industry. These weren't just work disagreements or creative adherences. These were deep personal hatreds that affected careers, friendships, and entire film projects. The stories you're about to hear come from insiders who saw Theza confrontations with their own eyes. From heated arguments on movie sets to explosive encounters at industry parties, these fights reveal a side of Hollywood that rarely makes it into the tabloids today. We're pulling back the curtain on Mickey Rourke's most bitter rivalries. These are the 6 actors that Mickey Rourke couldn't stand, and fix plausi stories behind their conflicts that changed Hollywood relationships forever. 6. Matt Dillon? God, no. No, absolutely not. I don't walk the same, talk the same, look the same, sound the same, hear the same, react the same. Especially, before me, there were Norrells. There were no I didn't really care about consequences and stuff like that. In the early 1980s, both Mickey Rourke and Matt Dillon were climbing the door to stardom at exactly the same time. They were both young, talented, and hungry for success. Hollywood loved putting them in the same category as the new generation of leading men, but their similar career paths created an unexpected rivalry that would last 4 decades. The trouble started during a joint interview for a major entertainment magazine in 1983. Dillon made what seemed like innocent comments about Rourke's intense method-acting approach, calling it maybe a bit too much for some roles. Rourke didn't to Keith. Criticism, well, he felt like Dillon was trying to make him look bad in front of the press. According to people while were there, Rourke's face went complete liard, and he barely spoke for the rest off the interview. The tension got worse. They started competing for the Sam roles. So every time one of them got a part, the other felt like he deserved it more. Their agents had to be careful not to submit them for the same projects bass. The competition was so fierce. A casting director who worked with both actors during this period remembers the situation clearly. You couldn't mention Matt's name around Mickey without seeing his jaw clench. It was like watching a time bomb waiting to go off. We learned real quick to keep them on separate projects. The rivalry affected both their careers, with some directors avoiding the drama by choosing neither actor for certain roles. 5. Kevin Costner. During the 1990s, Kevin Costner was on top of Thrilled. He had just won Academy Awards for Dances with Wolves and was considered one of Hollywood's most bankable stars. Meanwhile, Mickey was struggling to find good roles and watching his career slowly slip away. This difference in their success created serious bad blood between the two actors. Rourke felt that Costner was getting the attention and respect that he deserved. He started making public comments about Costner's acting abilities, calling his performance wooden and one-dimensional in interviews. The situation exploded when Rourke gave a particularly harsh interview to a major entertainment magazine. Said that Costner's success proved that Hollywood valued looks and charm over real talent. He claimed that any decent actor could do what Costner did on screen. When Costner heard about the segments, he didn't stay quiet. He had set his influence with major studios to make sure Rourke had a harder time getting quality roles. several projects. Rourke was being considered for suddenly became unavailable to him. The feud affected Rourke's career in ways that lasted 4 years. Studio executives were nervous about hiring an actor who publicly attacked one of their biggest moneymakers. Some casting directors were told directly not to consider Rourke for certain types of roles. An agent who worked during this period remembered the impact clearly. After Mickey went after Kevin in the press, doors started closing for him all over town. Kevin had real power back then, and Mickey learned the hard way that you don't bite the hand that feeds Hollywood. 4. Sean Penn. Mickey Rourke and Sean Penn should have been natural allies in Hollywood. Both were serious method actors who came up in the same era and shared a reputation for being intense and uncompromising doubt their craft. They even had similar backgrounds growing up tough and bringing that edge to their performances. But their shared intensity became the source of their biggest problem. Neither man was willing to back down from a fight, and their egos clashed whenever they were in the same room. That trouble started when they were both being considered for the same gritty drama in the late 1980s. During a meeting with the director, both actors were asked to read scenes together to test their chemistry. What should have been a professional audition turned into a competition to see who could be more intense and authentic. They started interrupting each other and questioning others' interpretations of their characters. The situation got worse when Penn made comments about Rourke's boxing career affecting his acting ability. Has suggested that getting hit in the head too many times might have changed Rourke's approach to preparing for roles. Rourke's office has a personal attack on both his intelligence and his dedication to his craft. Their mutual friends in the industry tried to patch things up between them, but both men were too stubborn to apologize. They would avoid each other at parties and industry events, creating awkward situations for their very own around them. Screenwriter Weil worked with both actors described their relationship simply. It was like watching two alpha dogs in the same territory. They respected each other's talent, but they couldn't stand sharing spotlight. Every conversation, Becca-Mia contest, that up. One was willing to lose 3. Robert De Niro. He's A and a crybaby. He's A and a cribbaby. Did you ever talk boxing with De Niro, considering rab-rawing, raging Mayo God? No, he's Robert De Niro's Mickey Rourke's hero long before they ever met. Rourke studied De Niro's performances in Taxi Driver and Raging Bull like they were religious texts. He wanted to follow in De Niro's footsteps and become the next great method actor of his generation. But admiration slowly turned into bitter resentment as Rourke watched. De Niro's career continued to soar while his own began to stumble. Rourke felt like De Niro looked down on him and never took him seriously as an actor. He believed that De Niro saw him as just another pretty face trying to be tough. The breaking point came at a private screening in the mid-1990s. Both actors were there with a small group of industry people. When someone asked De Niro about the current state of method acting in Hollywood, he made comments that Rourke took as a direct insult to his work and dedication. Rourke confronted De Niro right there in front of everyone. He accused the legendary actor of being jealous of younger talent and trying to keep other method actors from getting recognition. The room went completely lane as the two men stared each other down. People who were there said you could cut the tension with a knife. De Niro didn't say much back, which only made Rourke angrier. He felt like he was being dismissed and treated like you weren't worth a real response. An acting coach who knew both men explained the situation simply. Mickey wanted Bobby's respect more than anything, but he went about getting it all wrong. Instead of offering it, he demanded it, and that just pushed Bobby further away. 2. Richard Gere. I remember when they arrested Richard Gere for peeing in the street, so I used to pee in the street all that time. Yeah, dang, I go to jail for peeing. On the street? They give tickets now. That's old school. Oh yeah. In the 1980s, Mickey Rourke and Richard Gere were fighting for the same territory in Hollywood. Both were dark-haired. Intense actors who could play romantic leads or tough guys with equal skill. They were often up for the same parts, which created natural competition between them. But the rivalry went deeper than just professional jealousy. Rourke felt that Gere was getting roles based on his pretty boy looks rather than his acting ability. He believed that he was the better actor, but that Hollywood preferred Gere's more polished and marketable image. The personnel tension between them exploded at a high profile. Hollywood party in 1987. Rourke had been drinking and decided to confront Gere about what he saw as unfair advantages in their careers. Cued Gere near the bar and started making loud comments about actors whorled on their looks instead of their talent. Gere tried to walk away from the confrontation, but Rourke followed him across the party. Other guests watched in shock as Rourke continued his verbal attack. Security eventually had to escort Rourke out of the event, but the damage to their relationship. Swati done. The incident became gossip throughout Hollywood within days. But doctors' representatives had to work overtime to control the story and minimize the negative publicity. That thought affected their ability to work together and created awkward situations at industry events for years. A director we worked with both actors during this period remembered the situation well. You couldn't even mention Richard's name around Mickey without seeing his whole mood change. It was like watching Simeone flip a switch from normal to Hungarian. Seconds. 1. John Travolta. Both Mickey Rourke and John Travolta knew what it felt like to fall from the top of Hollywood and fight their way back up. Travolta had his massive comeback with Pulp Fiction in 1994, while Rourke found his redemption much later with Thirstler in 2008. But instead of bonding over their similar experiences, their different approaches to career revival created serious tension between them. Rourke felt that Travolta's comeback was a seer because he had better connections and more industry support during his difficult years. The conflict became public when Rourke made comments about Travolta's involvement with Scientology, several interviews. He suggested that Travolta's religious connections helped him get better roles and more opportunities when he was trying to build his career. Rourke also criticized Dome of Travolta's movie choices during his comeback period, calling them safe and calculated rather than bravatistic risks. He felt that Travolta was playing it too safe and not taking kinds of chances that real actors take. The tension came to a head at an industry awards ceremony where both actors were present. News described their brief interaction as ice-cold and uncomfortable to watch. They barely acknowledged each other despite being introduced by mutual friends. Travolta never responded publicly to Rourke's criticisms, which only seemed to frustrate Rourke more. He felt like he was being ignored and dismissed. Once Gunby, another successful actor, an industry insider who knew both men during this period, summed up the situation perfectly. Mickey was still fighting his way back when John was already on top again. That kind of timing difference created resentment that never rewound away. Mickey Rourke's complicated, sonally, and uncompromising approach to his craft created some of Hollywood's most intense personal rivalries. While some of these feuds have cooled down over the years, others remain as bitter as ever. Rourke's story shows us that alone isn't enough in Hollywood. Sometimes, the relationships you build or destroy can matter just as much as the performances you give. What other Hollywood feuds would you like us to explore? Subscribe and let us know in the comments. And don't miss our next deep dive into the secret conflicts that shape Hollywood's biggest stars.